You are now listening to The Power of Gentle Talk with Ana Palacio, the talk that informs, inspires, and motivates.
And I personally, because my son does attend the tutoring place, can attest to that. He's very relaxed. He was very uptight before he went there, and just edgy and a little nervous about his self-esteem, thinking he wasn't measuring up. And so that was one of the wonderful things that right away I noticed. His attitude, started smiling, feel confident. He felt like he had a place to go to where he could for sure get the help, assistance. Like a family. It feels like
yes,
a family.
It is a family for the kids. We love the kids. Some of the kids have been coming to us for 2 years, and they were able to experience success at that early age, And when you look at therapy, there's a great deal. Let's put it this way, because I think certifications have a lot to do in the minds of parents. When they come, they're concerned. They see a Hispanic guy with an accent. They say, is he going to be able to tutor my child? And are you a tutor? That's the big question. That's a question that is so limiting, because I don't think tutors are so well prepared in terms of understanding the child's development, the stages that children go through, adolescence as well, because we do see adolescents. But a therapist is, perhaps more prepared. If not, I could probably say with some degree of certainty that we are more prepared than tutors are. It's a very basic training to become a tutor, but not to become a therapist. So we do understand different things that have to do with different stages of development, social, emotional development, that came from all Sigmund Freud and Erickson and all these folks, and how children are going through different things in different stages, developing a sense of industry, which is basically at the age where Chris is. Am I useful or am I not? Am I able to bring something to the team or not? When we're in the PE class and they choose two teams, am I the last one to be chosen, or am I the first one or in the middle? Do I sit in the middle of the class, in the front or in the back? These are all things that go through their minds. They don't go through our minds. We immediately forget how it is to be children as soon as we stop being children. So there are different things. Yeah, we do focus on with a very clear understanding of where they're at.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that you are tuned in to WBZT 1230 on iHeartRadio. My name is Ana Palacio, and this is The Power of Dental Talk. My guest today is Juan Turón of the Tutoring Place. And we're having a really interesting conversation about how he sees the child as a whole. Doesn't not only focus on academically building his skills, but as a person, emotionally, physically, and of course, academically. Okay, so I gave you the scenario about this person that comes in and how do you measure his achievements, and you've explained that to me. We've talked about building a relationship with the child. Goal setting. Mm-hmm. I imagine everybody's different, but I imagine that's also part of the guidelines. So what you're looking at to see, what is the goals that you're going to set, and how do you achieve, or how do you feel that the child is nurtured in reaching his goals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the idea of and a lot of the things I say are very toxic in terms of to the listening ears. So stand far away from the speakerphones. But the ideas, a lot of the ideas that we struggle to educate the parents on, obviously they come from our own doctrine, and philosophical standpoint, but nonetheless very useful, because I think that we as parents learn as we go, and we're always interacting with the kids from an inevitable point of view, which is that of adulthood. You're always an adult. You cannot be a kid. So you're always interacting with your child as an adult, and your child is interacting with you as a child, and we're always trying to. So basically, raising a child seems to be largely a matter of speeding up the adulthood process. How much faster can I get you to be an adult? You see that in parents who see a kid who's very quiet, very well mannered, acts like an adult, and say, "Oh wow, what a nice kid." That's I'm not saying he's not a nice kid, but it's not a normal thing. It's not a good thing that the child is so adult-like when he should be a child. And so I think like a lot of the things that I hear, like when I hear you saying the measurement of achievement, goal setting, these are really all things that we as adults love. We're miserable at them. We are. The beginning of the year comes and we have 1,000 people with 1,000 resolutions for New Year. A lot of them have to do with losing weight, making more money, saving more money. 3 months into the year, none of them have achieved their goals. So basically, all they do is they keep their happiness in the future, once I achieve this goal, I will be happy then. Oh, then I'll be happy. And when it does to children, when we do that to children, it seems we're not satisfied enough doing it to ourselves, we do it to children too. When we do it to children, we really mess them up, because we're saying, once you get an L on the reading level, then you're going to be able to get this and that. We're doing a lot of, more damage than good, because we are using the same tools that we use for ourselves, which are unsuccessful. I repeat, I insist, mostly unsuccessful. We also do it to the children. It has nothing to do with their world. Children, cognitively, meaning their brain is structured in such a way that there are limits, and then there are limits that are open, that are not open to us. But there are limits in their minds, in their development, that doesn't allow them to think forward. Their prefrontal cortex, which is the part in the front of your brain, is the part that is in charge of future decisions. If I do this today, I will have a consequence later. Children have not developed that. So when we talk about them, about like setting goals, objectives for the future, if you go to school, you're going to have a better life, they may say yes, but it's not clicking with them. Cognitively, we're talking about two different things. They're not thinking, oh wow, I can picture myself driving a Ferrari because I go to school in the third grade, I get reach level M, and I can picture myself working less and in the AC and making more money. That not necessarily doesn't work like that.
See, and that's in part why I like taking my son to the tutoring place, is because the questions I'm asking you are very traditional questions, and some are very valuable and they need to be asked. But the idea that we need to change a lot of the concepts that maybe we've been growing up with and passing on, like you say, is important to address, because these are, I want to say, these are a different kind of children. It's a different world. There's different challenges. So I think that is definitely very important that you've noticed and you've taken note to do things differently. So that's very important. And I just want to remind my audience that my guest today is Juan Turón of the Tutoring Place. Turón.
Yeah.
Turón. I stand corrected. Turón. And he has a different concept on how to tutor the children that go to the tutoring place. I myself have my son that attends, and he's been very happy there. We're getting ready to close our first half hour of the show, so please stay tuned, and we'll be back in just a short few minutes and continue this wonderful conversation. Thank you.
You are now listening to The Power of Gentle Talk with Ana Palacio, the talk that informs, inspires, and motivates.
Welcome back, everyone. And yes, we're going to continue this really interesting conversation that we have with Juan Turón from the Tutoring Place. Once again, he's located at 1236 Military Trail here in West Palm Beach. There's also a contact number should you wish to contact them. It's 561-429-2855. And you may ask for Leah Peniche. She would be the contact person. Okay, well, before the break, we were discussing goal setting and feedback, and how does he measure that. And he gave a brief explanation on how a lot of the goal setting, that traditional goal setting that we are maybe expecting, are parents' personal goals and setting that we might be even subconsciously feeding to the child. And that's something that you notice, and you think you have a different approach.
Yes. Well, I was telling you basically that goal setting doesn't belong to our children's world. That basically anybody listening, if you have children, if you ask them if they want to go eat to one restaurant or the other, they have a hard time picking, unless it's, the big M is involved because they love going there and getting nuggets. But children their priorities are not a goal in the future. Actually, the priority and their job is to play. That's proven scientifically. That's how they learn the best, through play. They learn about the immediate world through play and such. But they don't have that sense of what do I want to achieve? Where do I want to see myself in a year? How do I want to improve myself? Those are things that are 100% adult-like, and there's a lot of research to prove that. But I think that the best evidence at first hand, if we're not doing an experiment, is any parent who's listening has a child. You know that your child's priority is not to reach level M, but it is to maybe go to Disney, or do something that is more within the reality of what they wish and what they want for. The idea of goal setting is continuously remaining blind to the fact that we cannot escape who we are. We're adults. And so, we're more boring, we're more into politics, we watch stuff that children are not interested in, and we want them to live the same life, have the same modalities, and basically how early should your child become an adult. The best example is when they say in school, the first 3 days of class you can walk into the class, and after that they have to go on their own.
Okay.
Why? Well, we want to become independent, blah, 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 and they tell you a list of ways in which the child must become an adult. Now, my daughter is 6. I don't know why she should become an adult so early. And I'm completely against it because I have been an adult for a while and I don't like it that much. To be honest. And I think a lot of people listening are probably in agreement saying, this guy is making some sense. Some people say, I wish I was a kid again. Whether you're highly successful, achieved or not. It's radically, the one thing that is the glue between the two is that regardless of whether you have goals or not, the achievement, the sense of achievement of success for both cohorts of age are the same. Happiness. The way you measure success is by how happy you are, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult. The problem is if some people think that to get to be happy you have to be miserable in the process. So you put yourself through a miserable process to see if you can achieve happiness, and it's just really contradicting and ridiculous. It doesn't work. And we try to do that for children, so we say, let's have some goals and objectives for you. By this day you have to achieve this, this, and that, because you have to be a productive citizen. And I think that's the first part, that A is something that we adults do, not children. And B is a cultural thing too. I will say almost any other country in the world that I know, and the nationalities that I know, goal setting is not a big part of their culture. Here in the United States it is, and I respect that greatly, because if you have a company, you are so well prepared if you work with a lot of American folks because they're always on time. With Hispanic people, usually, generally speaking, we're usually not on time. You probably have experience working with more Hispanic people too, and you see that sometimes they are not on time for something and you're like running around. And American folks are like, what time? 6 p.m., right? Okay. Perfect, I'll be there. You can count on them being there, generally speaking. And then the goal setting thing is a very much an American thing. We may have a dream of coming here and improving our lifestyles and getting ahead, but it's not a daily thing that we wake up and assess our progress towards achieving a certain goal and objective. That's a very American thing. It's a commendable thing to have, and it's great. And I think it's one of the many things that is responsible for this country being great.
That brings me to my next question. I think it's appropriate to ask at this time, due to a lot of the migration into this country, I think that also has affected a lot of the way children learn. I remember, on a personal note, when I first came to this country, didn't have any of the programs that are in place now. And I remember there's gaps in me that I just didn't understand. There's gaps. Now, luckily, there's definitely a lot more assistance and help. How do you target these children, and how do you balance this, emotional kind of up and down with language?
Right.
Maybe single parents,
Right. What is your name? Because I forgot.
Ustilio Mejia.
Ustilio.
He's my producer.
Ustilio, he's great. We're talking in the lobby downstairs about that. About the fact that Ustilio and I both have a few things in common. One is that we both came from another country. Two is that we believed in this country, that this country has something great to do for us, and that if we took the opportunity, it will give us the opportunity that sometimes even our countries couldn't, There's, when a child, he was telling me something very important, very, very important. He said, what about when children are born here, but they're Hispanic, they have Hispanic heritage, parents? And I was telling him that that's an even more complicated thing, because we were talking about when you're a child and you're sitting in the classroom in your own country, even here, even if you're an American-born citizen, you always have a sense of self-awareness about in relationship to everybody else in the classroom. Am I the kid who sits in the front and knows all the answers and raises his hand? The teacher loves him, and the parents are very involved, and I feel secure about myself and worthy of getting A's all the time. Am I the kid who sits in the middle and is everybody's best friend, so he's sufficiently socially, able to engage that it prevents him from being in the front, but keeps him in the middle of the class, but he's still not in the back, so he's everybody's friend. He can reach out to the ones in the back and the ones in the front. Everybody loves him. He gets, B's and C's, and he's a cool kid. Or am I sitting in the back, all the way in the back? I'm the kid who, I hide my face with my hair. Maybe in the morning, my parents don't care about me that much to make sure that my hair looks nice, that my clothes, maybe I cannot afford good clothes. Maybe my color skin is not the same as everybody else, different in some way. Maybe there's something like an accent to me. Maybe I don't belong to the social class that of the kids who sit in the front. In our countries, at least, it's very, very specific, and it happens a lot. So when we grow up with all these perceptions of ourselves, Now when you come here as a Hispanic kid, and even if you're in Florida and English is not your first language, A, it's not your fault because your parents brought you. B, you go through a lot of things. One of them is that you don't see yourself immediately as worthy of getting the same grades as everybody else. That's plain and simple. I interview enough kids to know that that's true, at least in the immediate reality of Palm Beach County. And then he was asking me about what happens when you are born here. And I was telling him that I think that it's a twofold that is even worse, because you see, when you're born here but your parents are Hispanic and they came from another country, you look outside and you're American, you look inside and you're Hispanic. So you're neither one of them. Your Spanish is definitely not good enough to consider yourself Hispanic, and your English may be perfect, but the fact that you have so much Hispanic heritage at home, so much exposure to things, the fact that by culture you don't dress exactly the same way, you're not American 100% at least either. So it's a real big conflict of interest, and then the idea comes of, am I worthy of getting these good grades? And I'll give you a prime example from last week. A kid came and he told me, my teacher told me that that these 4 problems were wrong. I said, no, these were right. We looked at them as mathematics, so I can actually test and see if my answer is right or not. In math, you can actually see if you got the question right or not. We looked at them, indeed, they were right, and the teacher was not wrong. But here's what happened. The teacher said, I want everybody to look at all these problems and then give yourself a grade. He assumed by mistake that the first problem of 4 was wrong, and automatically proceeded to give himself a wrong mark on the other 3. So the grade he got was more determined by the way he thought about himself and his level of worthiness of getting a good grade 100% than on the actual work. Turns out when we send it back, he has 100% in it. So
a lot of the pressure and so the cultural difference, or the cultural feeling, the surroundings, the bullying that maybe they also experience, all this is a big factor. Once they get to you for tutoring, you find out that maybe it's not really, definitely they're not smart children. They have all this other external.
And let me add something to that, because I go to the schools and I see a lot of kids. It's also the same for this topic nobody wants to talk about. I think it's a big mistake, because it's a great topic. The same thing happens with American children. You're an American children, you go to one of the local schools that I know, and you are a complete minority. I mean it. You're having to learn Spanish, and if you don't, you're an outcast. You don't belong. You might hang out with 3-4 kids, and I've seen that firsthand. So when they come to the tutoring place, we don't look at that. We look at do they feel happy? Do they feel they belong? Do they feel like they can play the same level with somebody else, and oversee some of the differences and actually focus on each other and grow from that relationship. But they come in and then you see them at the tutoring place. They come in and parents are American. They only speak English, and there's a little bit of a sense of shame, like I don't know Spanish. I don't know. They see that we're Hispanic. They see that a lot of the kids are Hispanic, and then when they start interacting with us and they have so much fun, and then the other Hispanic kids come and interact with us too, having fun. All of a sudden, we're all having fun learning, and we're all speaking English, we're having a blast. But that idea of belongingness, do I fit in or not, is also very important.
You have just listened to The Power of Gentle Talk with Ana Palacio. Tune in next Saturday between 2 and 3 p.m. for the talk that informs, inspires, and motivates.